It's the one and only 5D attraction, and I'm back. In this video, I got to talk about something very powerful, and it boils down to this. It's based on the universal laws, and this one right here is the law of correspondence. And the law of correspondence lets you know that essentially the law of correspondence is all about what you connect with mentally. So let's say if I think of strawberries, I'm now corresponding with strawberries, right? And based on that, I'm gonna have thoughts about strawberries and whatever's related to it. Then if I switch over and think of elephants, I'm gonna correspond with elephants, right? The law of correspondence is all about what you relate to. Another connection with that is synchronicity. When you're finding these, oh wow, how did we end up in the same place? Or when you figure out how did I meet this person in such a weird way, is based on the law of correspondence. You all correspond with one another, but based on the vibration that you all had, based on the law of vibration, you're vibrating at a similar energy. You're within the radius of one another, and you correspond with one another. This is how we build friendships, everything. But mentally, this is happening all the time based on what you think about. So for all the guys out there, when it comes to the game, when I bring this down to the game, what are you corresponding with? When I hear a lot of these guys, oh, this only happened to him because he's tall. That lets me know so much about what you correspond with. You correspond with people who are short and weak, because that's the only thing somebody who's short who would say that is somebody who's short and weak. Because if you're short and in your power, number one, you can correspond with someone who's 6'9" and feel like a giant. And then there's men who are 6'5" and they feel like they're 4'9" because they have no self-confidence, because they're corresponding with weakness or a weak archetype, or they see themselves weak. So being a 1%er begins in the mind. If we talk about hypergamy and women being attracted to the 1% begins in the mind. You can't tell me it's because of looks and blah, 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 because I've gone through stages where I've been very attractive to women. And I realized recently, I was like, dang, I went through an ugly stage when I was growing my freaking fro. Some of these videos are on here, man. I had a freaking crazy little fro. In my mind, I was like the hottest thing I was like, man, I had a crazy fro with glasses. I didn't even wear glasses, and I just started wearing glasses like during the time I started this. And I was looking crazy, bro. I had a crazy fro with my glasses was looking wild. But in my mind, I still saw myself as a 10. And I'm moving around and nothing's stopping me. Any girl I want to get, and if she doesn't like me, I'm not even paying attention, because based on availability, she's just not available. That's how I saw it. And all these things, all they were doing was keeping my mind focused on being see myself in a high regard. So everything that I wanted was corresponding with me. You know what I mean? If I'm corresponding with being a 1% in my mind, right, then that means when that's the energy. I'm as above, so below. As above, I see myself as this archetype. I have a communication line with my higher self of what I want to be. And then I bring that down. And then I become the representation of that. And then in my inner world, as within, so without. My inner world, bro, I'm learning the game. I'm staying powerful. I'm learning perspectives from the 1%'s perspective. I'm not listening to peasants complain about women all day. You know what I mean? Even though I do learn that information, but like I said, that's me learning more information on the human level. I love listening. That's one thing I love about the P's. You know what I mean? The P's have such a grandiose view of themselves, and I understand the magic of that, the spirituality, the metaphysical power of that. And you don't have to be a P to do that. If you can do that as a square, you know what I'm saying, as they say, or if you could do that as a regular dude, or you can even do that as some short dude in high school or college, you might be some 4'9". But if you see yourself as a king and you move in that way and you looking like, hey, look, if she's available, you know what I mean? I'm fresh. I see myself in this type of way. We're going to make something happen. Just by thinking that and corresponding with that thought, you're now creating opportunities to correspond with powerful things in your physical world. But if you made up your mind, oh, I'm short, women don't like me, I'm ugly, women only like men that are rich, and blah, 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 that's what you're corresponding with, right? That's what's going on in your inner world. So what do you think your outside world is going to give you? Because what happens is then you see it in your outside world, and it just reinforces everything, and you become stuck in the world of the losers. So what I'm trying to tell you, it's all in the state of mind. There's so many people I've coached and worked with that had their mind made up. I mean, I've dealt with guys that smelled bad. I've dealt with guys that was super regular, and I dealt with guys that looked super shabby. And all it took was a shape up, showing them how to, wear the right cologne and letting them know, hey, bro, you got to work on that smell. Like you can't be smelling bad, right? Pay attention to the basics. Make sure your breath smells good. Make sure you dress decent. And that same guy, as soon as we do those basics, we didn't put $1 million in his pocket. You know what I mean? We ain't make this guy 7 inches taller. But he went out there and he pulled. And this is a fact. I do this with clients all the time. I don't play. If you coach with me, you already know it's straight results. People who've been in the field with me, I don't just talk and fluff. When we get in the field, it happens. This is what I do. I've been doing this. I was 10 years ago, I was pulling them out there in the field. This past weekend, I was pulling them out there in the field. That's what I do. I've had 7 years just in the game solo, just having my way. Then 7 years in a relationship while still in the game, out in the field, pulling them. Now, the next 7 years, I'm building an empire. I'm about to have a tribe, right? And I'm still out there in the field staying sharp. So with that being said, right, if you find yourself corresponding with a negative thought, right, because that's what happens. Sometimes I'll be feeling super positive, and then I'm like, damn, this one thought's getting on my nerves. Like, man, this person still ain't do what I told him to do with this one thing, and I'm annoyed. Then I went, you know what? At least, I'm like, let me find a thought that's more powerful, that's not too far from this thought. So I go, well, this person's still making sure to get the work done. And you know what? At the end of the day, if he messes, I'll just get somebody else to do it. But at the end of the day, I'm blessed to even have the money and funds to have somebody else do it. Now I didn't go from level 1 negative to 10 positive, but I went from 1 to like 4. And then I go from 4 to 7. And you know what else about that? You know what else? And you know what else? Yeah, I'm that motherfucker, man. I'm that dude. Yeah, who cares who this guy is? This guy is so small. People who've done me dirty, y'all are so small. That doesn't even happen to me often. That's why whenever negative things happen, it's so rare because we keep such a powerful vibration. And we generally know if there's something that isn't in alignment with me at the time, I don't need to correspond with it. Let me correspond with something a little bigger, a little better, a little more powerful. And then my energy goes up. So it's the power of being able to leave the lower thought for a thought that's a little better, but it requires you to let go. And that's the problem. We hang on. And a lot of the time we're hanging on to the same thing that's weighing us down. It's like having an anchor on your ship and you just drop it and you can't let it go because your emotions are annoyed and you're frustrated. You got to let it go and tap into better energy. So the 1% begins in the mind before it shows up in the physical. What are you corresponding with? Learn the universal laws. Look up the law of correspondence. And then I want you to look at your mind and see what you're corresponding with. Are you corresponding with gods and kings and masters, the most powerful people on the planet that had their way? You know what I mean? The Casanovas, the ones that had their way with the beautiful woman, the ones that knew the game. Are you corresponding with the people who are dropping wisdom, knowledge, and game like myself, the different P's, the players, the relationship coaches, the experts, the therapists, and whatever, all these people with all this game? Are you corresponding with that, with the 1%ers aspect of the game? Are you listening to the 1%ers telling you how they experience the game? Or are you listening to the 90% who's complaining, telling you how they are experiencing the game? Because that same person saying, oh, them guys are Simpson. Oh, these pickup guys and all that. Look at their life, right? A lot of these guys are divorced, failed relationships, failed situations with women. All they can tell you is the perspective from down there, right? They didn't have an experience like myself. They're not in a situation where they can have multiple girlfriends. They're not in a situation where they've been the first girlfriend they ever had. Because keep in mind, I'm not trying to get married. I'm 1 for 1. I waited. I didn't get a girlfriend right away. I took my time. I wanted to play the game, and I still didn't want a girlfriend. I just ended up with a girlfriend because I was so deep in the game. Girls are going to stay around, and that's what happens. And then, unlike the rest who just stop, which is nothing wrong if you want to do that, I just kept going and saying, look, let's build a tribe, right? So that's what I'm doing. That's for me. Everybody can do their own thing. All that really matters, though, is are you connecting with where the 1%ers are at? Because if the 1%ers, what I'm doing isn't a big deal. Plenty of guys doing what I'm doing, building tribes. But then when I'm looking at the 90%, they're complaining about just dating. I'm like, dating? I don't even date. Like, I'll go on a date every now and then, but when I was having my way, bro, they always came straight to the spot. It was like, bro, I don't do dates. Then you're like, oh, I don't want no girl in my spot. Like, what are you connected with from that perspective? So what you'll find, what are you corresponding with? Because that voice that you think is a voice of reason is really a voice of a loser who's bringing you down with them because you're corresponding with them. Just like quantum entanglement. You know what I mean? Whatever you quantumly think about, it all connects. Correspondence, quantum entanglement, it all goes together. That's what I'm saying. That's why the universal laws are so powerful. People do not talk about them because they don't want you to know, because that's what the 1% know, are the universal laws. I'm gonna stop right there. That's a lot of game I just gave in this damn video. So one and only, make sure to check out the Patreon. I officially have all my courses on there. So for $50, limited time only, you have the ability to watch all my courses, my relationship and dating course, my MBTI magic course, my narcissist, how to untangle yourself. It's called Untethered, how to untangle or how to create separation and be free from narcissistic entanglements. You know what I mean? I got the Forbidden Fruit podcast with me and my boy Jay Wonders, where we talk about all that. And then I got Inner Alchemy podcast on there as well, where I got about 10 episodes. One of those are the universal laws. So if you're interested, you can learn all about the universal laws, and I break them all down in my Patreon. $50 a month. That's nothing. We also got the Pyramid Gold one-on-one coaching transformation program. It's a 1-month transformation program, 4 calls. We do a whole mapping session to help you get from point A to point B. You know what I mean? And make sure that you build the momentum and create a transformation. I also text throughout the week. I make sure all my people are moving along, giving them the resources they need. I go above and beyond for my people. So if you believe in me as a coach, best believe I'm going to give you my all to make sure that you get what you're looking to experience. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. I really care about this. And I'm going to get some testimonials from some of the people I've worked with, so that you all can learn as well. But in the meantime, man, take advantage of the opportunity while I'm still able to connect with you all one-on-one, because, we keep growing. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you all listening. It's the one and only 5D Attraction. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.